Well, what's going on here? I'm gonna go with number 2 here. Just hope these get longer and a little bit better, and then of course my co-host, these things are gonna go a lot better. This is my theme, man, right here. Pretty much most of my life I've had people, if you want to call it hate, or just think that I don't like to call it jealousy because it makes me sound arrogant, but so it's jealousy. I mean, I've always had to work harder than most people because my talents are just average, but I've always been better than average because I've put the effort in, and that goes with anything I do. Probably why I'm so hard on people about the dating, because I think that takes a lot of effort too. And if you're not going to put in the effort, you're not that guy, not that, you know, excited of the opportunity or that into this person, or you're just a lazy person. That's all I can kind of go by. Actions speak louder than words. That's what they always say. I think it's very true. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of been my story, and I mean, just the way I've kind of lived and grown up most of my life. I've always tried to please everybody. I've tried to make my friends like me. Everybody, if they didn't like me or they were mad at me, I try to figure out why. And that's something you just can't control. Maybe they weren't mad at me and I thought they were. That's part of being an empath. We pick up on things sometimes we're wrong. But for the most part, we're really pretty accurate. I think once I get this thing established with you guys, you'll figure it out. I'm a pretty good guy. Funny at times. I'm no stand-up comedian by any means. Some of the stuff I do on TikTok is, I mean, obviously they're already funny, but I just imitate them. Making my own. You know, I don't know who knew I would find fun with lip syncing stuff. I mean, it's no different than, you know, when we're kids, man, we want to imitate people, and it's kind of my way of being an actor without actually being officially an actor. So it's my coming out party here. I've held myself back for so long for things that I wanted to do out of fear of being made fun of or fear of people judging me. And it's time to come out and do my thing. My friends ain't here for me really anyway. And I don't want to sit here and rag on my friends because they've been good friends most of my life. I don't know, we just have different lives now, I guess. But I know a few of them are kind of whispering behind my back thinking I'm weird for doing the TikTok thing, but you know, it is what it is. I've always been funny, or tried to be funny. I mean, even if it meant making fun of myself, that's how I did. In a nutshell, I mean, I hate to say, I hate to really tell my whole story again, but there's so many details to it that I left out because I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. But you know, you'll find on my YouTube way down where I've kind of told my story a little bit, quite a few little episodes or parts I did, but. You know, I started out a little young. I was kind of an only child. Only, you know, 3 older sisters were really much older than me, 16, 14, and 9 years older than me. Parents were very old. I think my dad was 46, my mom was 40. And really no friends in my neighborhood. I had to kind of go far away to go hang out with kids when I was younger. So kind of an only child. I learned to play by myself. I learned to have fun by myself. It wasn't hard. Fortunately, I had my parents. My dad, you know, was in real estate, made good money. I wouldn't say we were rich, but we did pretty well. Played with Legos, and Star Wars was a huge deal at the time. Had all kinds of that stuff, but I was very content. I learned to play by myself. I think that's why it's easy for me to be single until I find the right one, you know, because I don't need to have someone to basically complete me. I would love someone to compliment me. That's kind of where I'm looking for. But so what I'm going to do here, this is, you know, my second full on video for podcasts. Doing some test runs. That's why we're not live. I got a co-host eventually going to join me. May even be tonight. We may do another one tonight. But this is just slowly going, and then we'll get more down to a schedule, and hopefully have it on the same time every day or every night, whatever. Probably try to do it at least 5 nights a week. But bottom line is, I thought I'd give you a little insight on me. So I started out doing all this shit on TikTok because I was let go from work, and I think a lot of people were in the same boat. Found out TikTok was around, got on there, started doing. Actually, just watched for about a week, and then I realized I want to do one, so I decided to do one. Yeah, it kind of spiraled. It kind of got addicting and fun. And then when people like your videos, I mean, who doesn't like to be liked? And who doesn't like to have someone laugh at you or think it's funny? That was what happened to me when I was a kid. And just to give you a rundown, I was injured really bad when I was in 7th grade. I was 12, almost 13. I won't even try to explain it, but got caught in this door at the gymnasium of the YMCA, and basically was clinging to life. Got my skull got kind of crushed and got my skull fractured. They weren't sure. I mean, they were trying to keep me alive because I was trying to go to sleep, and they wouldn't let me. Lost a lot of blood, and it was a really scary time. And I didn't realize how scary it was because I was little and I didn't really know. But I was in the hospital 3 weeks, intensive care for 3 days, and I remember it plain as day. It's weird how it's just kind of all come back to me, but I can remember, talking to my mom in the ambulance, telling her to quit crying. Told her I got a headache, I'll be okay. It was more than that. I don't know if you've noticed I get kind of teased about my what they call sidewinder smile. I guess is kind of what I've been hearing lately. I had some facial damage just because the nerves got pinched and cut and severed. So my left eye is a little lazy at times, especially if I'm really tired or I've had a couple drinks. I may wink at somebody on accident. It's just what happens. I've even warned a group of guys before, like, man, I promise you guys, man, I'm not winking at you, man, so don't get the wrong idea. I just sometimes couldn't control, but it's gotten better over the years. It was really bad when I was younger. So in a nutshell, 7th grade is when this happened. And anybody that remembers 7th grade or has kids in 7th grade, it's probably the toughest year, especially for girls, but for boys too. I was made fun of. I was an outcast, kind of. I mean, the teachers wouldn't let me go anywhere. They were so worried I couldn't go to the gym. In Little League, they tried making me wear a hard helmet in the field. And I wasn't a bad baseball player, but my parents had to fight for that because they were going to try to make me wear a hard helmet. I couldn't look up to catch a pop-up. It was insanity. I don't know why they were so scared, because the doctors wouldn't have released me if I wasn't okay. But I did eventually get the hard helmet taken away. But the biggest thing for me was I hated school. 7th grade, it was pretty bad. I mean, from what I remember, it's people call me names like Smashhead and Crooked Face and just some other stuff, Popeye, which I kind of gravitated to that because I would just imitate him. Olive. Anyway, I can't do it as well as I used to, but I learned how to adapt. I kind of started making fun of myself. My best friend at the time, God rest his soul, has passed away. He saw it. He witnessed it. He was right behind me. Missed a couple weeks of school because of it. I guess it was pretty gruesome. A lot of blood. But bottom line is, I'm here. And I owe that all to God. I didn't know it for the longest time. But I look back now and I think about my mom, how scared she had to be. It was just a terrible time. And here's the funny part. If anybody knows, people get lawsuits, and of course we sued. You got to think this was almost 26 years, something like that. 26 years maybe. I got $42,000 when I turned 18. And today's money, it might have been worth $1 million, I would think, but it's all good. I'm still very, very grateful I'm alive, and I owe that all to the man up there. There's a reason he kept me, and I didn't know why, but I didn't care. All I wanted to do was fit in at that time. I wanted my friends to like me. I wanted people to like me. So 7th grade was tough. Learned to make fun of myself. By 8th grade, I was kind of popular. I had a lot of friends. By high school, I was plenty of friends. I was somewhat popular, but I was also kind of a class clown. I made fun of people. I made jokes. I was in the hallway a lot, sometimes vice principal's office. So that's kind of where I got my sense of humor, and kind of even was klutzy at times. I remember I went through a stage where I was klutzy. I don't even know what the hell the fuck was wrong with me, but I made quite a few friends in my life. I'm very, very, very grateful for that. Very fortunate, because it was 7th grade looked very gloom. So as I grew up, it obviously was something that I got, people give me shit all the time, make fun of me all the time, but it got to a point where it didn't care, it didn't bother me. And I think the less you react to people, the less they'll do it. Don't make fun of you, because that's what they're trying to do, is get a rise out of you. And so if I make fun of myself, I beat you to the punch, dude. So they gotta stop doing it. I don't know how I learned to adapt to that, I guess. But I did. And like I said, grateful, very, very grateful for all the friends I had. I think part of that was part of the reason it took me so long to find someone to get married to, because I was so into my friends that if the girl I was seeing, or that liked me or whatever, if they didn't fit in with my group of friends, they had to go. I know that was a weird, shitty way to kind of look at it, but I probably broke a few hearts, or I guess you could say, considered a player a little bit when I was in my 20s. Nothing on purpose, never out to hurt anybody, but my friends were important. That's all I cared about. I felt like I was missing out if I wasn't hanging out with my friends, you know. Anyway, so fast forward. I mean, I finally met someone at 29, got married, and she had 2 kids, and I love those kids to this day. We're close. You know, it'll never be the same as having your own kids, because they have a dad and all that good stuff. But I think they know I did a good job. I love them. I still love them. Then I got my own little daughter. You know, she's 15 now, but she's going through some weird stage right now that I'm still hard to work on. Still hard to deal with teenage girls. I don't know. Anyway, I was in construction for 20 years, working for the city of Des Moines, and had a couple of injuries that really hindered me. Back injury, had surgery in the shoulder, and even some minor knee surgeries, and pretty beat up. But I know that I made a big mistake and bought a motorcycle 3 years ago. 18 years with my job, thought I was going to retire there with great benefits and all that good stuff. And one stupid summer, I had a midlife crisis, bought a fucking Harley. I'd had a motorcycle early in my life, but I wasn't much of an experienced rider really, but everybody had them when I was working. And so October came, 2017, and I had rode for 2 weeks. I thought I was done riding for the year. And it had like an 80-degree day, October 2nd, and I even jump started the bike, got it out, drove. It was out with some friends and had a few drinks, but I didn't think I was buzzed, is all I thought. But that's what happens when you're sober or drunk or drinking. If I was sober me would have known, don't ride that bike. Buzzed me, thinks I'm good. So anyway, I wrecked it. Just careless, faded, ran into the curb, and was hurt pretty bad. And the cops showed up right away, and sure enough, make a long story short, I refused to blow and all that. I tried to get out of it, but I got my license back there for 4 years. But I ended up with 7 broken ribs, a collapsed lung, broken collarbone, which I still have plates in it to this day, broken shoulder blade, and even some broken toes, because I was in such a hurry that day I didn't even put on riding boots. I wore my Chuck Taylors, and silly me. Big time learning experience. It's changed me to this day. It's made me a different person. I was fired from my job. I was without license. I had burned through all my sick and vacation. I had no more savings. Luckily, I had my truck paid off, my house. I was about to sell it to my sister, and my mom helped me out. God bless them. Saved me for a couple months. But still, rock bottom. Never been in such a bad place in my life. Never even fathomed I'd be someplace like that. I had always I always think 3 steps ahead, try to keep my shit right. I always try to walk the right line. Not saying I didn't do some stupid shit, but they were calculated. I thought about them first. They still were stupid. But this was a place I'd never been, and I wasn't sure I could handle it. I remember begging God, why didn't he take me? Because it would have been so much easier. I had nothing. I mean, I didn't have anybody even come to me. If it wasn't for my now deceased mother, who, God rest her soul, she toted me around everywhere. And I lived in a small town south of where she lives, so she drove all the way from her house to get me and took me shopping for groceries, took me to the doctor. What a wonderful woman. But yeah, that was it. I had no other help. Nobody helped me except my mom. Oh, of course, my sister helped with some funds, with financing a little bit to help me save my house. But other than that, yeah, I didn't have nobody. It's kind of scary, but I remember the thought of killing myself crosses my mind, and only for a split second. I would never do that to my daughter. I need to be here for her. She's what kind of motivates me to live. Not so much anymore because I'm as happy as I've ever been in my life. But yeah, that was a hell of a learning experience. But I remember that's where I found my faith. I prayed one night like I'd never prayed before, and I got away from God. I was, confirmed in the 9th grade in the Lutheran church, but I'd gotten away from him, and the man answered my prayers. And little by little, things started going my way. Eventually, I got in the car business after being rejected from 5 other places. I finally got hired by a place that was desperate for somebody. They needed some more workers. So that's kind of how it went, And so then, got into the car business. I was too old to do any more construction work. Just my body was too beat down. I mean, I was a truck driver and equipment operator a little bit, and I mean that was kind of easier. It was a lot less on my wear and tear on my body. So I didn't know what I was going to do. 47 years old, starting all over, like brand new, like I was 18 or 19, And fortunately, I thought sales might be my best bet. I've always gotten along with people and seemed to make friends easy and all that good stuff. So I got in the car business after, of course, long tries. 5 different places rejected me because of my OWI. They couldn't hire me for insurance reasons. And then some other places even wouldn't hire me just because of the OWI, because it was a felony. So I was in a bad place, man. 6 months I went without working, and went to a really dark, deep place. Someplace I'll never want to go again. To this day, it's why I don't really drink much. If I do drink, it's a couple beers. I will not get a second one. That is complete brain damage to do something like that. I don't know how people get more than one. They obviously didn't have bad experiences I did, because it was horrible. But anyway, so I got in the car business, and I tell you what, who knew? I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm anything special when it comes to like being in sales so much. Like I'm not the fancy slick words or anything. But I was scared to death. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared to death. My first one, I remember my general manager going, I was supposed to just be watching. And he's like, there you go get him. And I shit you not, terrified all the way there. And shit you not, these people have been in through like 3 other times, and an elderly couple, and they were tough, but they liked me. And lo and behold, they bought from me. So I sold my first opportunity, and it was fun. I didn't even make very much money, but it was fun and it was addicting. And I genuinely like people. I really do. Like, unless you're an asshole, like I said, I always say you're my friend until you're not. Or, it's just easy. I know I keep saying easy, but so that's where this name Easy came from. That's where I needed to get to. So one of the sales guys, he's great, man, David, I love him. He started calling me Easy, and at first I was kind of like, thought it would fade, but it kind of stuck. But I had to make a point to get rid of the E. I mean, that's still Easy E because my name's Eric, but all I think about is Easy E, the rapper. Well, I'm not a rapper, first of all, and completely different type people, but Easy's stuck. When I was younger, my friends had a different name for me, and so a lot of people don't really get it, but it wasn't something I came up with. I just nicknamed it, and why not go with it? I like it, kind of catchy. So that's where my show came on, because it's easy. Actually, somebody from TikTok, I had a bunch of people give me ideas on one of my lives, and I thought it sounded good because it's easy. I mean, there's so many things you can say about it. I'm easy. Things are easy if you really just put your mind to it. Life should be a lot easier. Sometimes it's not as easy as we want it to be, but bottom line is because it's easy, man. So Yeah, it's so then, like I said, this, the TikTok just got to be fun. On top of that, just doing a lot of research, learning things, trying to educate myself on things, including politics, you know, and I won't get into that because that's a whole other story, but I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and I definitely found myself this summer, and I feel like I'm a lot better person. I'm not saying I was even a bad person, but I went through a lot of stages of depression, and back when I had my back surgery, I got addicted to pain pills for about 4 years. It could have a lot to do with our marriage being, you know, not being, because we had a good marriage for the most part, just got bad at the end, and so we got divorced. And so, like I said, I've been single now 6 years. I've only had one really serious relationship, and that was last winter, and that didn't last. Kind of got dogged. But I'm very content alone. But who doesn't get lonely, you know? So, hell yeah, I'm still looking for that one. And I can tell you right now, I was a pretty good husband. I don't doubt that for a minute. But I'm gonna be even better of a man for the next person I'm with. Wisdom. You learn from mistakes. If you don't, people that keep repeating the same thing over and over again is brain damage. But that's one of the things too. So I got hooked up with John Maxwell Group. I don't know if anybody knows who John Maxwell is, but I've been doing some studying and some stuff, and I'm going in March to go to a live event and kind of get my certification and all that. And so what I've kind of decided I want to do is one of the things, you know, God kind of saved me again, that motorcycle wreck. I mean, I had a bald spot on the back of my head like I'd been scalped by an Indian. Obviously, I hit my head on some concrete, and I must have slid more than I fell or hit. And I feel like I dodged another bullet, but I think that's God. And my good buddy, Mark, he's so funny. He goes, what I think is God just had enough. You weren't listening, and he thumped your ass right off that motorcycle and said, all right, now you need to get your shit right. We're starting over here. Because it's so changed me, man. It's changed me quite a bit. So I even got, you know, like I said, I got in touch with kind of my faith, and it wasn't as strong until this year. But it's really become strong. I got back to going to church, and I haven't gone for a while, but that's this election and everything really got a hold of me. I got wrapped up in it, and I had my reasons. A lot of people didn't agree. A lot of people agreed. A lot of people on the same page as me. So that got a hold of me. I'll probably get back to church here soon. But I got this stuff going on. I've taken this time off just to kind of get myself back in order. My mother passed away in May, and I won't get into that. I was very close to her. It really just has been one of the hardest things I've had to deal with. And so it really made me bitter, because she didn't die directly from COVID, but she died indirectly. She was isolated in her home for a good 9 or 10 weeks, and 89 years old, and she was very active. She went to breakfast every day with her friends and played bingo, and she even did prairie meadows on occasion, to having to be stuck in her home all alone. And so one of the reasons I got fired, they say I quit, they fired me, whatever you want to call it, in April, because I asked to be laid off because I wanted to be able to take care of my mom. And being in the car business, I was around people. I had a gentleman in my car I had to pick up for a car sale. We were so desperate for car sales because nobody was buying anything, that we would go out and pick people up, drive them. We delivered cars hours away. So I picked this gentleman up. He worked at this place, and he said 2 people tested positive the night before. And so I was a little nervous. I'm like, so who's to say you weren't? How does he know he wasn't? So I stayed away from my mom. I visited her and just kind of stayed on the porch and didn't go inside. And I just felt so horrible, because I always went to my mom's at least once a week, usually. Less though when I was got in the car business, because it took up a lot of my time. But so yeah, my job basically let me go, or we had a disagreement and quit. And then when she passed away, I tried to go back to work right after she died, 2 weeks later, and believe it or not, I couldn't do it. I was a mess. I just couldn't function. Who knew? I mean, here I thought I was over it 3 days later. Fuck, not even close. I don't know anything that could be worse than losing your parent than a kid. Would be about the only thing I could think of, your own kid. But even when you prepare for it, like we all knew she wasn't going to be very much longer. She had some health concerns, but she ultimately had some breathing issues. And then she was rushed to my sister took her to the hospital, and she ended up going into cardiac arrest and then was on a respirator for a few days, and then she passed. But I'm kind of grateful for that, because this is no world for anybody right now, especially elderly. She lived a wonderful life, and she's having a lot better time up there, I promise you. She's up there with my dad. He died when I was 23. So I told her, I was the only one with her at the end, and I basically was with her for 3 hours. I told her, I was going to be okay, because she worried about me all the time. I remember my sister telling me one time, well, why is mom always so worried about me? And she goes, well, you almost died twice. I get it. You worry about your kids. And she's always worried about me being a baby. I've had a few things kind of hinder me over my life. So what mother doesn't worry about their kids, wonderful woman, but she's in a better place right now, and I've accepted that. I'm a lot better than I was before. I've had a couple days where you get a little sad. Christmas was tough and all that good stuff, but all's well and is well. I mean, she's in a good place, and I feel like I'm in a good place. A little lonely, but nothing too extreme. I've got a pretty good little clique of friends, new friends, I guess you could say. They've always been friends, but this Mark guy's been a pretty good guy. He's one of those dudes that is a lot of what most people would call worthless or useless knowledge. I gravitate to it. I'm very into learning shit, and he's also a man of faith, and I've met a few people, a man of faith, got back being friends with an old friend who's, him and his wife are, in with their faith, and yeah, it's kind of been a good time. So here we are, fast forward. I've been talking about, so the TikTok thing is where I got this podcast idea. I basically started doing lives just to see what it was like, which were kind of like small little mini podcasts, but it kind of works welcome. I just kind of people got bored because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just winging it, and eventually I took off a little bit. I started getting a bunch of followers and a bunch of likes, and I had quite a bit of a following, and I still have a good group of loyal people, man, that think I'm funny, and they like me, and they're supportive, and that's where I'm like, it's funny how people who are complete strangers support you more than your own closest friends, but it is what it is. Your closest friends don't understand because they think it's weird, or they think that's not who I remember, that's not the Eric I know, but it is really. It's been inside me all this time. And my real friends, like my friend who died a few years ago, he knows me. We were fun. We always made fun. We laugh. We prank call people all the time. We had a blast together. And we faded after high school a little bit because some other things. But I miss that dude. He was so funny. He's the funniest guy I ever met. And then my other best friend he's funny as hell too. But we've got different lives. He's married still to this woman he met in high school, basically, and they have a good life. They're just a little bit farther away, and I'm single right now, so that's how it works. That's how things go. Because when I got married, I kind of did my own thing too. You kind of lose touch with your friends a little bit. The close ones will always stick around, and I'm not really sure what that is anymore. But my friend Mark's been fucking solid, man. He's a good dude. He's going to be co-hosting with me. I met him in the car business. Great salesman. He's taught me a lot about it. And so for 3 years I was solid. 2.5 years of car sales, really solid, and then kind of spiraled. This COVID has really fucked things up. And so to this day, here I am. I still consider myself a car salesman. I wasn't even sure I was that good at it until Mark, my friend, told me. He listened to me and said, "You're fucking good at this, man." And all I do is I just treat my customers like my best friends. And that's the truth. It's not a fucking act. Try to give them the best deal I can. I make a little money, they get a good deal. Ow. Seems pretty fucking simple, don't it? It isn't always so simple when you've got resistance. There's a little bit of greed in the car business. But I'm not that type of person. I don't like to try to get over on people. It's just being an empath is part of that. I don't want to put somebody in the poorhouse, or I don't want someone to be, struggling with a payment when I know that they can get it for a decent, affordable payment. And sometimes that means we have to get a different car, whatever the matter means. But don't ever want to put anybody in a bad place. Don't want to try to sell somebody something they don't want and charge them too much money for it. But that can happen. So here I am, man. I'd take a little time off. My mom passed away. I've got a little bit of money to help me kind of get through until I can get back on my feet. But I'm looking at March. If I'm gonna probably go back to car sales in March. I've got a couple options there. But my birthday, I turned 50 here, the 26th of February. So I'm gonna make sure I have a big 50th. Whatever I have to do, I'm gonna have a big deal, because it might be my last big birthday of my life. There's no guarantees I'll be able to make it to 75, and that's probably the next big one. But this podcast is going to be successful. I feel like it's going to be successful, but I need to put the effort and time in, so that doesn't require. I feel like car business takes up a lot of your time, and even at home, you're still thinking about work. And there's no way I could give this podcast 100% if I had to go to work every day. Granted, I've got some free time now, but I feel like I deserve a little bit. I've worked my whole life. I've had a rough, I wouldn't say a bad life, but I've had some rough times in my life. The pain pill addiction is one of the things reason I feel like I've kind of been kept here. I've had a lot of experiences, some of them I'm not proud of in my life, but the pain pills got a hold of me. I got addicted to those. I loved them. They made me happy. They made me have energy, but they're fucking horrible. They are an evil, evil thing. And I'm sorry if anybody's on them. I don't mean to sit there and make you feel bad, but some people I know kind of think they need to have them, but whether you like what I have to say or not, I don't believe they're fucking necessary, because they really don't stop the pain. They make you forget the pain because of the euphoric, high you get. Tylenol and ibuprofen are going to do just as much. I don't care what anybody says. I've done it all. And the pills were just a way to make me happy and kind of made me deal with the pain easier. But I wouldn't say they stop the pain by any means. And then it gets to a point where they make you feel like you have more pain. But that's more of your body withdrawal and shit. So yeah, I went through a stage. I don't know how many people have done it, and I doubt very many people have done it. But I wasn't going to be a statistic. And I was losing myself for a while. And so one day it hit me. I got to get off these fucking things. This is insanity. And so I basically took 2 weeks off of work, FMLA. I think I told them I was having some minor knee surgery or something, but against doctors' advice, I quit cold turkey. You have to know, I won't even tell you, but I have taken a lot of them a day. And I quit cold turkey, and that might have been the worst fucking thing I've ever been through, even more worse than the back surgery. The withdrawals from that is so excruciating and so miserable. You're talking insomnia, you're talking body aches, you're talking diarrhea. Some people throw up, skin crawling, a thing called, shaky leg syndrome, clamminess, sweating, just fucking miserable, like the flu 10 times over. But the part with that sucks is when you're sick with the flu or whatever, you can usually sleep a little. That helps. Oh, you ain't sleeping on this. It will not allow you to sleep. It gives you straight insomnia. And my ex, she even called the emergency nurse or called the hospital. Just she was scared. She didn't know. And they said, no, if it was alcohol, we'd take his ass in here. But he's going to have to just go through this. It's going to be a little bit of a process. So that's one of the things I want to do, is I want to try to help younger adult men that need it. Do some public speaking, do some coaching, because I know I could use direction back then. And I know we make poor decisions in our early 20s and seem to have a lot of luck with younger guys that just seem to think I'm a pretty cool dude, I guess, and they gravitate to me. So if I can help them out, great. So back to the, John Maxwell group. I kind of feel like I was given another chance when I wrecked that motorcycle. And I completely believe that God kept me for a reason, and so that reason that's come to my thoughts is, you know, I've got this voice. Obviously, I'm not afraid to talk, and the thought of motivational speaking, getting up on stage and stuff's always kind of crossed my mind. I've got this deep voice. You got to do something with it, right? It wasn't waste. It can't be for waste. And I'm not going to go start in rock bands right now. Probably too late to be a country singer. Other dreams that might have been fun, but not going to happen. But I can make a difference. I can definitely make a difference. I know for a fact I can help, even if it's only one young man. You know, if I speak in front of college, speak in front of a high school, all of it. I've got a lot of other things I haven't shared that they're just things that can help maybe wake people up and maybe give some of these young guys a better fighting chance. The world's crazy, man. I don't really think anybody knows exactly how it's going to turn out, but I just know that there's a lot of drugs on the streets these days. You know, heroin's become a big deal, and that's obviously pain medicine comes from that, basically, a lot of it, and it's very addicting, and it's a killer. It's become a big deal in this country, and pain pills are a big part of that. People take the pain pills, and then they can't get any more. Sometimes it's parents' leftovers, and they're not even thinking. You know, it's not the parents' fault, but the parents need to just try to get rid of them, take them to a pharmacy, take them to their doctor, dispose of them. Because what happens is the kids get on them, they see them in the medicine cabinet or whatever the hell, and then they get addicted. It happens very easily. It happened very easily to me. And I consider myself strong-minded for the most part, but I did like them. So sit back, give me a chance, man. We're gonna have to talk about a lot of other things. Mark's got a lot of good stuff. Very, 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 very smart man. And we feed off each other. We'll be. It's gonna be funny too. We're gonna have some good laughs. So that's my damn story in a nutshell. And so I've got this podcast, John Maxwell thing going. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. You guys can be supportive of this podcast. I think it'll be good. And we'll see you guys on a regular basis. Here comes soon. Baby steps. Like I said, slow going. But trust me, you think I got opinions. Mark's got more than I got. And we're quite funny. We talk over each other. But we mostly agree on most everything. So, but Gen X people, that's what we are, true and true. Anyway, everybody, thanks, and hopefully start seeing you soon.